Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another adventure. Today we join my good friends Gethin Durham, Luke Johns and Joseph Rangeford, followed by Mark, good friend of Luke's, up to the Highlands of Scotland to target skate. Now, the lads went for 3 days and specifically targeted them by casting methods. In the past they've used boats and different methods to get the baits out further, and they wanted to try and get one casting. So they ventured up over the 3 days, and this is the highlights of their trip.
Right, so here we are. We've made it up to the islands. It was a long drive through the night. I can't remember what time we picked Geff up, but drove through the night. We hit some quite heavy sleet on the way. It was quite bad at times, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's snowing.
It looks okay up here at the minute. I'm conscious of what it looks like now, though. Unfortunately, it's looking quite bad, the weather for today, so it's going to change our plans by the look of it. We're thinking we may just head to Loch Line again. We fished it a couple of times last year quite productively, to be honest, so it's looking like we may just go there for today, and we're hoping the weather's looking a lot better tomorrow. So we're going to try and do what we can today, get done what we can. I mean, none of us have slept. We're going to try and get something to eat in a minute, get a few rods in the water and see what we can come up with. What are you thinking, Geff?
Yeah, the weather's not the best. Change of plan. So back to Loch Line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's swung around way out of our favour, isn't it, really? It's not...
Didn't really want to go there. Didn't want to go back, but it's a nice enough mark. It produces a fish.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we've got me, Gethin, Joseph and Mark up here for the weekend. Hopefully we can pull out a few fish. Let's see what happens. I'm just going to run through the knot we've all been using quickly. I was shown this knot by Rob and Adam. It's a knot they've been using over in Norway. It's incredibly strong. It's a lot easier to tie than it first looks. It's quite important you need to tie a knot in your braid just so you can pinch it between your teeth. You haven't got to pull it tight, but you've got to pull enough just to keep the tension on. I won't talk whilst I'm doing this, but I'll explain what I'm doing. Pull the tension on there. Then you take your shock leader, loop it over on the top, and you need to rotate in alternate directions 20 times. I'll just do that quickly. So now you've done your last loop, you can let go of your teeth and you need to pinch all directions together there. Take your shock leader tag end and run it along your braided line. Take your braided tag off of your coils and throw it over that way. It needs to go over both lines. And get it, bring it underneath, pinch it in tight to there to form that last coil, and then form an underhand loop. The loop needs to be underneath and it needs to capture both the shock leader and the braid. Fold it over, then take the tag and go through 4 times. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I've got big hands trying to do a little knot, it's quite awkward, but I'll try and do the best I can to show you. So through 4 times, it's 2, 3, 4. When you get to this point, still keeping everything tight, take the tag end and lay it along the coils. And this is the important bit. You need to unrotate the knot. You basically need to undo them coils by wrapping them over this side. So each time you do a wrap this side, it undoes the coil that side. So that coil, see the coils are undoing this side and I'm adding them onto the other side. Do that until you've run out of coils. Quite important to moisten it. And then gently start to pull this tag. If you rush it, the coils will all bunch. You need to let them come through together as they want to. And then that last thing will form your last coil. And that's the beginning of the Rosito knot. So once you've got to that point in the knot, the next point is really important. It's really important to use a pair of gloves. It's impossible to apply as much pressure on it to get that to good press on the line using your hands. It'll cut straight through it. So we just keep these in the box. You couldn't get the tension on it without doing it. The whole knot doesn't work unless it's really pinching in on itself, because nothing's tied to itself. It's only bonded by them coils. You've got to really get it to cinch on it. Main braided line, tag first. Don't go too crazy on this. Just get that to pinch. We just want that to pinch at this stage. The next bit, shock leader around your hand and pull that as hard as you like. As hard as you like, that's not going anywhere. Then back to the coil. Same again, don't go too crazy on this one. That just needs a little tweak like that. Then go back, go around it a couple times if need be. Just make sure you're happy that you've got it in all directions. That's it, that's not going nowhere. We can trim all the tags off now. Keep the shock leader knot fairly tight because we're fairly long, sorry, because we're going to put a blob on that. Just going to melt the end of it. As for this tag, instead of just cutting it, because where the braid starts to fray, it'll go inside of the knot. Just put a simple half hitch in there. It will still fray, but it should stop at the half hitch. Right, so cinch that half hitch down. Cut it just behind the cinch. Blob end on there, and you're good to go. That's going nowhere. And that's a completed knot. It's nice and slim for casting. I've got 100% confidence in that. That'll land. There's anything we can hook into today. Equipment wise, we've all gone down a similar route. Eliminators, I've gone for the T12s, same as Mark. Beast of a rod, more than capable of what we want. And I've paired it up with an Achios iron loop. First impressions, I only picked them up yesterday, but first impressions seem pretty solid. They have plenty of braid, and hopefully they're dragging anything we want them to drag in on the weekend. Gef's gone for a bit similar, but he prefers a multiplier.
I've got a T1000, again eliminator range. I prefer the multipliers over the fixed spools. I've got a Daiwa C-Line 30 SHA, £70 Spectra braid loaded on there. Luke kindly did the, what knot is it called?
It's a FG knot with a Rosito finish.
That's the one. I'm not that confident in doing the Rosito finish myself. It's gone onto a £100 leader. A really long pulley panel then, about 6 foot, 7 foot. 8-0 Cox and Royal meat duck. Obviously then down to the solo clip and the 8-ounce lead.
So that's day one over on our first mark. Unfortunately, it didn't produce the skate we was after. Joseph managed to pull in a spare dog, which is his first ever spare dog, so that's always a bonus to get your first fish, so PB all round for him. This wasn't our original plan to come here, but we had 3 or 4 different marks lined up, but unfortunately the weather swung around, we couldn't get on them, so we ended up coming to Locker Line. We fished it a couple of times last year quite productively, but we used a boat last year, and we found we kind of struggled today without it. We've been doing trying to like zip slide, your live bait sliders, baits out and stuff like that. But unfortunately it hasn't worked for us today. But onwards and upwards, we're packing up now on the way to our next mark, and hopefully better things to come tomorrow. What do you make of it today, Gav?
Slow going. The weather was not really on our side of it.
No, it changed our plans completely for the trip, really, didn't it? This wasn't our plan.
Most of it come across the lock, travelling, was it northwest?
Yeah.
Made it pretty rough. Rain on and off all throughout the day.
But we know from a couple of trips last year, it's always worth a trip here, and you can say we fished it twice last year, and it's very successful both times, wasn't it? We were 4 skating 2 trips, tope, ling.
Yeah.
You had a ling out, didn't you? Well, last trip was here. It was like endless fish,
it was very busy, very busy.
It's lovely when it fish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
When it's slow.
But do you think this mark you need a boat?
No, definitely not. You can cast out and catch them off you. It's not a problem. You may come across a few line snags, breeze snags.
With the conditions not being perfect, we probably could have we'd have been in a better position with a boat, maybe, wouldn't we?
We more likely would have had a skate. Yeah.
We had wind in our face. We was probably only trying to get half decent baits out, 60, 80 yards realistically, wasn't it?
But yeah, if we had the boat, we could drop them off beyond the tide line into the drop off and more likely catch them out there.
Yeah. We're just trying to give it a go without, just trying different methods of targeting them. The marks we're going to fish tomorrow, the drop off's a lot closer to shore. You should be able to comfortably fish from the shore, as in casting your own. But we're just going to have to see. But we'll catch up with you tomorrow, see how we get on. Hopefully we can pull out a few skate. Right, so here we are, day 2. We're down on the second mark, and what can you say, the conditions are absolutely perfect, no Gav? Literally are.
No wind, like a mill pond.
This is what we wanted it to be yesterday, but unfortunately we had to go to our backup plan and it didn't happen. But got great hopes for the day. We're getting everything set up now. We got here last night, I don't know, it was about 12, 1 o'clock. We spent months looking at Navionics, like picking a few marks along here. We've had a few friends that's fished along here as well, which we sort of like spoke to a little bit. But when you turn up somewhere in the pitch black, trying to find where you are, it's a bit of a minefield really. We ended up parking in a lay-by at the top. We all slept in the van, woke up a bit stiff and crooked this morning, but went in, got a bit of breakfast. Game to go now, haven't we? We found where we want to fish. We've been on Navionics again all morning. This is where we're picked and we're going to give it a go. I'll just run through the rig that I'm going to try today. I was using just a long pulley yesterday. I think Gav's still using the same now, but I think he's going to go to a up and over. It's a bit, what we can see on the Navionics and what we can see in front of us is a bit cleaner ground, so hopefully we'll get away with this. Just using a 10mm meat hook. I think it's more than ample. And just 200 pound mono right the way through. I've just got an 100 pound stop knot. Just to an imp. I've got the Gemini turn up by on the thingy for the up and over and the end of my trace. And I do quite like using uptide lead when you're fishing a quite strong current. Because if that does get knocked in the current, it's still holding it. I was using a breakaway. Once you pop the wires, that's it, popped, it'll just keep rolling then. If you pull that slightly, it'll roll over and it can like it re-digs itself in. I find it quite good. I know a lot of people don't use them. But that's what I'm going to try today. Right, this is my chosen bait for the day. It's half a mackerel. I'd say about 1/4 of an octopus. As you see, we ain't using massive baits. I mean, big enough. It's a big old lump of bait to try and throw out, but it's not huge. Hopefully that's the one. We've just had Geffy's, well, yeah, quite a positive run to be fair. Took a bit of line, really positive thump. It looks like it may still be sat on it, so fingers crossed, may get one out. Well, we're about midway through the second day and not a lot's really happening, to be fair. I mean, earlier on Geff had a very promising pull down. A definite escape bite, you'd say. Real, like, not aggressive, just slow pulling, powerful run. Geff struck into it too early. Don't know why he done it, but nah, only joking. He knows he's been beating himself up a bit ever since. He kind of a bit eagerly. Well, we've been up here 2 days fishing, possibly a bit eagerly picked up a rod, hit into it, and he shouldn't have. Just pulled the hook out of its mouth, but that was the only real sign of anything so far. We're just stopping for a bit of lunch, a bit of chilling out. We're meant to be up here for 3 days, but the weather's not looking great for tomorrow. From about, well, just kind of tonight, late hours tonight, early hours tomorrow. That's kind of it really. So we're looking at fishing here to about maybe 9-10ish tonight, calling it a day. But hopefully we'll have one out. But that's fishing, innit? We've come out, we've done everything we can. We're putting some pristine baits out. We have 2 poly boxes brimming with knockout baits from Southwest Sea Baits. You know, prime baits from octopus. Or we've had herring, brimming full of roll sacks, and yeah, it's just not happening. We have been trying a few things different. I mean, we normally fish, we've taken the boat up, and I wouldn't say controversy, but you get a lot of different opinions on that. A lot of people say, oh, if you hadn't cast out, it's cheating. Cast out, it don't count. But I don't personally see it like that. I mean, I had a 206 pound. I think Geff had a 180. Yeah, 182. Both of them were both baits were bolted out, but it's not as easy. It's not as easy as it just bolt the bait, you get a fish. It's a lot of hard work goes into it, and anyone who wants to come and pull anything 200 pound out from 400 foot of water, it's really not easy. Like I said, it takes nothing away from the fish I have, but we've come out here this week and we're solely casting our baits, and we've tried a few other bits. We tried zip sliders. I even tried putting my bait on a balloon. It works, believe it or not. But that is solely dependent on the wind behind you. It worked for about an hour. That was it. That was all we had for that. But it was fun experimenting. But we're just going to do what we can. Hopefully we got a good few hours left, and hopefully we see what we can do. Well, yeah, anyway, the session's kind of drawing to an end. I think we got a couple hours left in us, really. It's been a long couple of days, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's felt long. I mean, 2 days fishing, but it's the day of driving and
Lack of sleep.
yeah, starts to take its toll, doesn't it?
No proper food.
No.
Barbecue food.
We've got a lot of meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just consisted of meat and coffee.
But I was about to say disappointing. I can't say disappointing because it's always good to be away.
Never
All had a couple of days off work.
when you're fishing, is it?
No, it's been brilliant. We've all had a laugh.
Or a learning curve.
Yeah, we have learnt a fair bit, to be fair. Like, none of us are that experienced using braid, are we? And it's the first time, I think for many years, I've used a fixed spool, then gone to a fixed spool with braid. It's been hard work, truth be told, and Geff's prevailed with a multiplier with braid. And it...
Until the last 4 casts.
Yeah.
So yeah, had a bit of a problem last 4 casts. It keeps on pinching and stopping in mid-flight. Causes a bit of a mess.
Yeah. We weren't laughing, honestly. No, after the 4th one was a bit like, yeah. Or just sat back rolling our eyes. But no, it's
sorted now.
We'll pay for some lessons, he'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be alright. But we're going to fish into darkness. We're not giving up yet, not by any means. But we're going to start packing a few bits away in a minute. But yeah, no, it's been it's been very good. A bit of a lack of fish.
We've done a good 12 hours here, haven't we?
Yeah.
Had a few little bites. Had that when we first got here, first cast, had a run.
Yeah.
Didn't prevail to anything, you know. I was a bit early and pulled the hook out of his mouth. So.
our one chance of a fish.
Cheers, Geff.
Yeah.
Top man.
But we're already planning our next trip. We haven't even finished this trip yet, and we're talking about our next one. So we're going to try and get back at, I don't know, hopefully maybe summertime, July maybe.
Yeah, give it a go.
Check a few marks. We've got so many marks lined up. We were looking on Navionics and that, but you could spend 10 years up here. You're not going to fish them all. Yeah, it's endless, isn't it? The coastline you can get to is
You can't scratch the surface. I don't think
It's
you could
also
with a
getting to the
lifetime.
marks, isn't it?
yeah.
You can spend hours on Google Earth trying to find places to get to these marks,
Yeah.
and you don't actually know till you turn up.
Yeah, it can be a bit disappointing sometimes when you turn up and there's no road close by and you have a lot on Google Earth and it's a 10-mile hike across mountains.
Yeah. And I don't mind, but these boys hate walking. But other than that, really, I can't really say a lot else about it. A couple of days. It's been a brilliant couple of days, really, isn't it? We was hoping
Yeah.
to fish for a third day, but the weather isn't letting us. The weather kind of put a stop to our plans on the first day, really, didn't it?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a nightmare this time with the weather. We've had it good
Beautiful
really the
sunshine
last
last
two
time,
times, isn't it?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we've been quite spoilt. The first trip we done last year,
It was like glass, wasn't it?
it was perfect, wasn't it? And we
Yeah.
kind of done the business on the first day. We had a skate each out on the first day.
Well, we planned to go up for 3 days and we fished 24 hours and went home.
Yeah, but we've done it. Sort of like, I completed that. Let's go. But it's amazing how fast, not just the weather as a whole, but the forecast for the weather changes. We checked the weather that morning. It was the Saturday or the Friday, possibly was it? I can't remember what it was. We got out of the tents. It was lovely. It was flat calm. Checked the weather. Oh, it's going to be lovely all day. About 10, 11 o'clock. I think that's a bit of a breeze. He didn't forecast that. Check the weather again. It's 40 mile an hour wind going.
Westerly winds.
We didn't forecast that this morning.
Changed within 8 hours.
But we do find that it plays a massive impact on anything that you choose to do here, isn't it?
Casting when it's windy with a breeze, that proves difficult.
Yeah.
It's hard
Especially with a
to cast weight
multiplier.
with a crosswind.
And I think I've kind of got it out of my system a little bit about the casting offshore from. I still want to prevail and get one offshore, but I'm not.
Big boat next time.
I think so. Yeah. It just gives you more options.
One casted, one with a boat.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
of each.
But yeah,
That's
Yeah,
the boat
definitely.
then.
And it's not even just that. It's getting to other venues, isn't there? There's a couple
Yeah.
marks that we've been looking at, and they have got just skate writ all over them, and You
Yeah.
can know it's going to be carpeted with them, but there's no access to them, is there? None at
The
all.
only way you're going to get there is a dinghy.
But there's like little choke points. It's 10 minutes in a dig, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not hard to do, but you can't get around to it. You'd never ever get on these marks without them, will you?
Keep a close eye on the weather and the tides as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've learnt a few things. Come away with it. It's Joseph's first time in Scotland. What do you think of it,
Yeah,
Joseph?
first time in Scotland. I mean, weather didn't help us a bit. I managed that one spur out.
Yeah, it was a good fish as well, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, new species for me, so it was a PB. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Travelling all them hours wasn't a complete waste of time.
No.
But no, it's been an experience. I'd definitely like to come again.
You say about travelling all that way, then we're not the first and we're not the last to,
Yeah.
to drive home from Scotland with an empty bag.
It's
Means
not
you
going
can
to
go
be
anywhere,
the first
can't it?
time we come up here and not catch a skate. It's just
You can go anywhere and not catch a fish.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
this is a
fishing
long
at the
place to
end of
come
the
not
day.
to catch a fish.
Well,
be-
believe us, it hasn't disheartened us. Like I said, we're already planning our next trip. Want a few different things to try on next year again. That's the thing, you're just learning constantly,
Yeah.
isn't you? And you're changing. We haven't done anything, we haven't fished the same as we fished the time before. You're just constantly just
Trying new
adapting to it,
things.
and you're trying new things. I think it's not on our doorstep, so it's not as if you've got the luxury of like trying things over time, is it? You've got to try and get load of ideas in your head and just give them all a go, innit? You can only try, like. But if that's the end of our session, hope you may have learned. I don't know. We haven't learned nothing. So I don't know if you've learned a lot from us, but
We've had a good time.
yeah, we've had a good
That's all that
time.
matters, really, isn't it?
Brilliant. So yeah, I'm sure if we get a fish, you'll see some more of us. If not, this will be the last.
till the next time.
Till the next time.
Sadly, the lads never caught what they were after this trip. However, sometimes that's just fishing. Join us next time in another adventure.